Bradley Funkhauser. I'm the CEO of CATA. Thank you for coming out today. Today is a special day because we're launching a new route. The first new route that we have put out on the street since, well before the pandemic in 2018. And certainly the largest investment in new routing since I took over in 18. In addition to the people coming by, I'd like to introduce a couple of speakers, and we will keep this moving along. I thank you for taking the time to come out. Please join me after I introduce them. First, the Honorable Andy Shore, Mayor of Lansing. Sir? Vice Chair of the CATA Board, Dusty Fancher. Board Member representing Michigan State University, John Prush. Vice President of Support Services, McLaren Greater Lansing, John Patterson. You can be seated. Thank you very much. So, here's the good news. The Route 18 is going to be dubbed the Capital City Crosstown. This is the first major investment in new routing in the last 3 years. It was inspired by Lansing neighborhoods, and they have a shared vision, and this is a shining example of an effective public outreach. But it wasn't just CATA. It was also Mayor Shore. We would have conversations about having this area of the city serve directly with businesses in East Lansing, as well as the new hospital in Michigan State. And my vice chair, Dusty Fancher, who was influential in not letting this slide on my list of priorities. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Dusty, because they also heard the citizens in the neighborhoods of this city. So instead of, well, we haven't served that area, we are in a pandemic, we don't want to take risks right now. After the mayor requested this, we said, how would we do this? How would we make this a strong route and a great investment for these neighborhoods? The Capital City Crosstown will connect Lansing to Michigan State, East Lansing, when fully constructed, McLaren directly, as well as the multimodal facility. This will be the first time that you can ride a bus from this neighborhood over to the Amtrak station, which is called the Gateway, and get on a train to Chicago. We will invite you to climb aboard and take advantage of this service, which will launch August 30th of this year in the fall service. Route 18 will be designed to also provide weekday connections with 6 major north-south routes along the 3-mile stretch of Mount Hope. It will also provide all 6 MSU weekday campus services, Route 1 from downtown to the Meridian Mall, and Route 15. There will be new bus stops along this route, 23 of them with shelters, good shelters, pretty shelters. They will become, I'm passionate about this, back to my planner days in Tacoma, Washington. When you put a shelter or a bus stop into a neighborhood, that's part of the neighborhood. It's got to blend into the neighborhood. It's got to be a part of that. And that's what we're doing in these neighborhoods with this partnership. This is a strong partnership between the City of Lansing, Michigan State, East Lansing, and the citizens who will ride this. This was, again, the voice of our customers, as well as the leadership of and bold decision by this mayor to explore. I'm proud of these partnerships. Please see the details on the posters on both sides here. And we're going to take this out to the neighborhoods and fine-tune this over the next couple of weeks. Next, I would like to introduce Mayor Shore, and it is my honor, Mr. Mayor, to thank you again for your leadership.
Thank you, Brad. I love his energy. I love the excitement. This is an exciting day. Probably I don't know, 2.5 years ago, we were in Sycamore Park. I think it was actually after the flood. And I had a young lady come up to me and say, how come we don't have an easy way to get from Mount Hope, whether it's Sycamore Park or Colonial Village or anywhere along this stretch, into East Lansing? And I said, well, you know, you could always go to Michigan Avenue and there's a connector there. And she said, well, but we should have one on the south side. And I said, we should have one on the south side. So I had this conversation with Dusty Fancher, who's one of our Lansing appointees to the CATA board, and she wholly agreed. So she got to work, and Brad got to work, and the board got to work. I've heard it several times, not just from that young lady in Sycamore Park, but from folks here in Colonial Village, in Luton Rich, over north of Mount Hope, that they live here in Lansing because they love Lansing, but they might work at MSU or they might work in East Lansing, and there needs to be an easy way to use public transit. They don't want to have a car. They don't want to park down at Farm Lane and get shuttled. They want to get on the bus right here in Colonial Village or in Sycamore Park or Fabulous Acres or in any of the stretch along Mount Hope and get over to East Lansing, whether they're shopping or working. We also want the option for folks from the East Lansing area to get over here into our part of Lansing and check out the city of Lansing. So we are always excited for all of the CATA routes. We're excited for everything going on downtown, but here on the south side, we now have the Capital City Crosstown, and that's just tremendously exciting. This is something where the citizens got involved. They made their statements heard to me as the mayor. We shared it with the CATA board. Certainly they heard it as well, and they took action, and they're getting it done. So I'm really excited about that. I should look at my talking points. I think I hit most of it. I am also excited that we're attaching this over to McLaren and the new hospital. Not only will it allow people to get there from the Mount Hope corridor, but it will allow people to live here in our community where they want to be in our neighborhoods and get to work. So I'm really excited for our partnership with CATA, with the City of East Lansing, with McLaren, with MSU. Tonight, again, is going to be the public meeting at 6 p.m. at the former Sears building in Frandor Shopping Center for residents to come and learn more about the route and ask any questions. So I want to thank CATA and their board for listening. I want to thank the citizens for raising their voices in our neighborhoods whenever we do public meetings and things and talking to them. And this is just a great example of government responding to the needs of the residents. So thank you to everyone at CATA. I think I'm introducing Dusty.
Please do, sir.
So I mentioned Dusty Fancher, local Lansing resident, vice chair of the CATA board. I'm going to introduce Dusty. Thank you, Dusty.
Thank you, Mayor Shore. Besides the vice chair of the CATA board, I'm also the policy chair of CATA, and that is really, really important to me, particularly because I've used public transit most of my adult life, sometimes as a choice rider and sometimes as a transit-dependent rider, and both of them are very different things. I know firsthand how important it is to be able to get on a bus and go to where I need to live, work, and play. You only get on a bus for two reasons: to spend money or make money, and both of those reasons are really important. It is so important to listen to those public needs and find a way to serve them, and I'm really happy that we were able to do this over the past couple of years with this crosstown route. We heard about this, as Mayor Shore said, from the public community, and we're really happy to make that a reality. And while the last year and a half has been super challenging, it also was a great opportunity for us to change our policy and look forward and imagine how those changes could affect our community. Regionalism is super important, and we are excited about how this new route is going to serve our community. Thanks so much, Brad, for listening to us and making our community vision a reality.
Thank you, Dusty. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would now like to introduce the Deputy Director of the Police Public Safety Management Services Bureau at Michigan State University, and also CATA board member representing Michigan State, Mr. John Prush.
Thank you, Brad. Michigan State University is very excited about this new route, the Capital City Crosstown number 18. We welcome all of our neighbors from Lansing to campus, and excited for folks to ride this new route, to come out and see the East Lansing community and the Spartan community. And speaking of spirit, I highly encourage attending and participating in the CATA public meetings to give your feedback to CATA. In the process, you could possibly win some Spartan swag. So come on out for an opportunity to win some MSU swag baskets. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. Go green.
First time I went on the radio was in a couple of weeks of coming aboard in January of 18. I went on the Dave Ackerley show. Lolo, I went off script, by the way. But I think it's important when talking about McLaren. I want to tell you the story. And Dave said, because McLaren had just announced the big investment in South Lansing, half a billion dollars. And Dave says, "You can have good routing there, right?" We sure are. And so right after that, I turned around to my planning department and said, we need to get a hold of McLaren and we need to have a long conversation about how we have great service to the hospital for this community. That relationship has continued to grow and we're very proud to have that relationship. I would like to introduce to you John Patterson, who is the Vice President of Support Services for McLaren Greater Lansing. John?
Thank you. It's actually been a great pleasure to work with CATA through the development of the new McLaren campus to provide that public transportation. It's always been on the forefront of our planning, definitely not an afterthought, and it's been nice they've been with us since the beginning. I want to thank them for their responsiveness to our community and including the new McLaren campus on the new crosstown route, providing access to quality care for all of our area residents. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Come join us as we jump on Route 18, connecting West Lansing to East Lansing and everything beyond. As you board the CATA, you'll see that we're on one of the newer buses. This is bus number 722, any of the 700 series buses. Those are the newest buses in CATA's fleet. Some of the fun facts about this bus: they've got more visibility on this bus because of the way the windows are set up. You've got jump seats right here in the front for easy access, jumping on and off the bus. They've got new little stop buzzers. But one of the coolest things ever, I think, and this is important for people who are in transit on their way to and from work, is you've got phone charging stations right here. So you just plug in your phone, because I don't know how many other people have had this issue, but I've been on the bus before and my phone's been dying. And you want to catch some cool pictures, or you want to text somebody and say, hey, I'm on my way to get my kids, don't put my kids on the porch. You've got phone chargers. So, and then you've got better spacing and seating on the newer buses. If you want to check this out, if you're coming up here, you've got more forward-facing seating than you'll see on some of the older buses. And then, of course, we've got our cautions, but then you've got kind of a wider exit. If you've been on any of the older buses, you know it's kind of a tighter feel, but you got more of a wider exit. So more of a clean space, more space for the driver to see. Seats pop up for the wheelchairs, and you've got more disability seating on the newer buses and more spaces. So all the way back, you see the back of the bus, we've got windows. Driver can see all the way through the back. So a lot of safety features that CATA's added. One of the coolest things about this new route is I think this is one of the only routes that goes all across all 4 wards. So you're connecting with Ward 4, Ward 3, Ward 2, and Ward 1 as you're going all the way across town. So not only are you connecting with the city of Lansing and the city of East Lansing, but you're connecting with all 4 wards across the city. And here we have CATA CEO, Brad Funkhauser. So if you want to give us a quick rundown about what we're about to experience.
Mr. Mayor, members of city staff, press, you are now on the first flight of Route 18. The Capital City Crosstown was designed after getting input from the residents of South Lansing, but also those wanting to access the new McLaren Hospital. And then we started talking about connecting with the multimodal station, which provides Amtrak service, Indian Trails, other intercity carriers. That's what a multimodal facility is supposed to be. So what if we kept going and used that as the pivot point or the anchor? And working with the mayor's office and his Department of Neighborhoods, our vice chair, Dusty Fancher, the idea started to come on paper. and we started looking at getting it done right as we come out of the pandemic, as we go into the fall. And so what happened is we put this down on paper and it started to come together. Can we do it? Oh, you know that. Oh, I don't know if we can get it done by the fall because, you know, we got to. Oh my gosh. During the pandemic, we shut down bus operations in 3 days and set up a paratransit services and hired 10 new CXRs, sent all the drivers and all the mechanics home safely. 3 days. I bet we can get the Crosstown route built and ready to go by fall. That's why we're here today. Thank you for letting me elaborate a little bit.
No problem. I just want to take a quick note so that everyone who's watching can see. We've already connected at least 2 routes. We've connected the number 11 when we were over at the Colonial Village Shopping Center. We just passed over MLK, which would have connected us to the number 9. And then now we're about to cross Washington, which will connect us with the number 2. Once we get to Cedar, we'll connect to the number 5. So lots of transfer opportunities to go north and south and connect all over the city. And so talking about all over the city, let's talk to Mayor Shore. What would the residents talk to you about when they thought about CATA?
The residents are always really excited about CATA. We have a world-class public transit system here in Lansing. Challenges of speaking while on a bus. But we have a world-class transit system here in Lansing. We know that they've invested so much. You have heard DeLisa pretty much tell you where every nut and bolt is on this bus. They got charging stations. The seats have been altered to make sure that disability folks can ride on the bus. So the system has been, everybody loves the system here at CATA. They do a fantastic job. But certainly when you look at the routes, there are people in Lansing that are looking to get to East Lansing, whether it's to go to work or to shop or just to connect. And we do a lot of work downtown on Michigan Avenue with the Capital to campus. But here, we heard from all kinds of residents. And as you go through, you can point out neighborhood after neighborhood: Colonial Village, Luton Ridge, Fabulous Acres, Sycamore Park. Several of the folks who live in these neighborhoods, they love to live in Lansing, but they may work in East Lansing, or they may be a student at East Lansing. And as we get further down the line, they're going to utilize the hospital from McLaren, and it's much easier just to go straight down Mount Hope. Mount Hope is a very obvious connector. I spent 10 years living in Sycamore Park, and a lot of people live there, whether they're students, professors, whatever, because they love the neighborhood, and it's so close to East Lansing because they have a job there. And they said, we don't want to have to take a car to drive to Farm Lane to then take a bus to downtown. Why can't we get a bus straight into East Lansing as we're coming over by Aurelius? They didn't want to have to drive downtown to park their car to take the bus. That didn't make a whole lot of sense to get the Michigan Avenue line. So this was the pitch. This is what I talked to Dusty Fancher about, our board member. This is what she talked to Brad about, making sure that we have the service that people need and expect to help them with their daily lives. So now you are, and as of September, we are going to have the Capital City Connector, the 3 C's, the Capital City Connector here, to make sure that our residents have the ability to walk right from their neighborhood, to get on the bus and get over to East Lansing. It's a great partnership with the city of East Lansing, with regional, with CATA, with MSU, getting over to campus, and then eventually getting to the hospital. We'll have lots of people that need to utilize that hospital, and this will make life a lot easier for them. I didn't realize, and DeLisa said it, this crosses all 4 wards. So this is truly, we know that that Mount Hope and Washington is the dead center of the city. So we are crossing right through the dead center of the city from the west end all the way to the east end. So this is really very exciting. It's the first new route in a while since I've been mayor, I think, but this is CATA responding to the needs of the citizens. So again, like Brad, it's a little longer of an answer, but we are really very excited and appreciative of CATA, and the citizens are really going to love this route.
Just a quick update, we did go past route number 5, so that is, if we're keeping track, we've got route 11, we've got route 9, route 2, and route 5. So that's 4 routes that we've connected to so far on this short little period of a ride. We're about to cross over Pennsylvania, which will connect us to route number 8 and connect us over here by Potter Park Zoo. So this is a great way for residents of the Colonial Village to get over to Potter Park Zoo and enjoy the amenities there. And so let's have a quick chat with Dusty from the CATA board, and let's talk about the process. So if residents want to do something with CATA, if they just want to partner with CATA, they just want to update their routes and such, what would be the process for that?
So we have public board meetings every single month. Starting this week, we are back in person, the new normal post-pandemic. We are going to be having our board meeting next week at the Sears Center. You are welcome to come, everyone. We'd love to have you there. We have public comment at the beginning and at the end of every single board meeting. You can also email us on our CATA website. Our emails are available. I would love to talk with you. As the vice chair of the board and also as the chair of the policy committee and someone who wholly believes in regionalism, good ideas come from the people who live, work, and play in our city. So I would love to hear from them.
Awesome. So I love the fact that CATA is very open to talking with residents. So they're very, very resident-centered. So I love that so much. Quick question, and who would know? Brad, would you know how many people can fit on one of these newer buses?
So that's a very good question. And I want to have Kai.
Kai.
From the planning department. It's really, I was going to say all of them, but you wanted a serious answer. Kai, how many can you put on a bus, a 40-footer?
Seated right around 35 with standing room, probably 60 to 65.
So we fit about 60 to 65 people. If we think about that, that's just 60 to 65 people can travel all the way from Colonial Village out to MSU. And I love the fact that we are connecting to the Amtrak station. So if anyone who has traveled that early in the morning and you're trying to get to the Amtrak station, you know how hard it is to get a lift and an Uber that early in the morning sometimes. Hop on the number 18, go straight across town with your luggage, hop off, hop back on when you get back home. So we're going to cross over Aurelius now, which is route number 7. So are we keeping track? We've got route 11, route 9, route 2, route 5. Now we're crossing and connecting with route number 7. So that's 5 routes that we've connected to so far on this short ride. On the poster boards, CATA said that these routes will connect with the other routes every 30 minutes. That's huge for anyone who knows about traveling back and forth to work in Lansing. Connecting every 30 minutes is a huge, huge, wonderful feature, because that way you know you're not going to be late to work and you can count on CATA to get you there. I love riding the CATA, and I've had to ride it. I've had to ride it, and I've had a choice to ride it. And when I get to have a choice, I still choose the CATA. I've trained my kids how to ride the CATA bus. My kids know how to get all over Lansing to get on the CATA bus. I feel safe with my kids on the CATA bus. That's a huge thing too. CATA is a very safe option for travel. Let's talk about bus stops. Let's talk about where the bus stops are going to be located, Kai. I know you've got all that answers.
I do. I mean, do you want me to run down a list?
Yep. Yeah, can you run it? Just run it down.
I can try. All right, so we're going to start off in the Colonial Village Shopping Center, and then we're going to have a few bus stops in between there and MLK, and then those will just be regular bus stops, not shelter locations. I think it's easier for me to talk about where the shelter locations will be. So we'll have a shelter location at Clifford Park, and we'll have a shelter location also at the Walter French facility, which will hopefully be under renovation by that time. And then we will have 2 new shelters at the McLaren facility, and a new bus shelter on Hagedorn Road, which is the far east end of this, in front of the Hannah Plaza.
Thank you so much for joining us on this preview of Route 18. We're so excited for this to launch on August 30th. Don't forget to hop on Route 18, Route 18, which will connect you all the way from West Lansing to East Lansing. If you got to go to Amtrak, you've got to go to McLaren, you've got to go to MSU campus. CATA has got you covered. Anybody want to say any final words?
I do have one request. I want to give a big shout out to McLaren for their partnership and putting the investment down in that area. So thank you.
Yeah, well, we are really excited. One more way to get around Lansing, one more way to get from Lansing from the east side to the west side to campus. This is just really exciting. Don't forget, we have the best public transit system in the country. We're always one of the highest rated, and we're providing one more service. So we are very excited to provide this for the residents of the south side, and we'll continue to hear from folks and make improvements as we hear. So thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to jump on Route 18 on August 30th.